we're here. Make sure I have my settings correct. All right. If you're catching the replay, welcome. I'm Steve. Mark's around. Say hi, Mark.
Hey everybody!
And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Welcome or welcome back. And happy, what is it, Monday? It's usually Mondays with Mark, but here we are. So thank you for everyone for your flexibility in viewership. Having to move yesterday's video over one and then this another over one again. So hopefully, Mark has a wonderful video to come out tomorrow on Tuesday. And we'll be sitting out tonight, hanging out, doing us, all that good stuff. So, Annie, hello. How are you? I was playing a little bit of catch up. I was trying to get the most current stuff that I could. Oscar, hello. Nat, hello. To try to get up to the most minute, to the point where I usually have my work phone with me, and I'm like trying to look up her community posts because they tend to be such fodder. She'll put them up and then they disappear, and then she has a new lookout on things. All in our places. Teddy, hello. Tater, hello. So yeah, aside from Foodie Beauty being a little gross this week, my week has so far started very well. So, unlike our fair lady, I'm exhausted. 5 p.m. in bed. I got you in the background. I see you, Mayor. Hey, budgie. Bill's Mary. You're good, Mayor. We're just chilling, easy breezy. It's on a reschedule night. Those usually aren't as crowded as when they're supposed to be done, but so goes. So we are going to catch up with our fair lady, Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Everyday Miriam. Haven't seen her in a while. I thought Miriam would come back when we went back to Kuwait. It still could. I mean, we're due for a few more twists and turns, but going back Foodie Beauty now, and Foodie the Beauty, because she lost her tag. So last week when we checked in, one of the funnier high points was that she lied about how much cheese she was eating. What else? She had lost 20 pounds, even though she said she had to leave Canada to go to Kuwait because it was not healthy for her with all her vices. She still decided that she was going to go back. And then, even though she was overeating, she lost 20 pounds. So, back in the algorithm. She did what? How many mukbangs in so many days? I mean, you run out of reasons to justify them. You can only have, why not have cheat week and then maybe one day you eat well? Something like that. Rice is the new French fries. Comes with everything. Rice comes with everything. And her measuring of it, guessing about what's in her hand versus... Yes, I saw the fashion show. It was different. Did I get a load of her? We all got a load of her, I think. So let's see. This week, checking in, we're going to reconvene on some of her health problems because she has them. They appear and disappear at need, at convenience. And there's a few between the sciatica and now alleged cellulitis and other things she had going on. All these things that when she needs to get out of something hurt, but when she wants to go do something, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So we'll touch on health and her weird perception, which is another perception I noticed from some of the personalities, particularly the female characters on 600-Pound Life. With the zero insight, when you want to pull for somebody, but they make you stick. There was a few people like that on 600-Pound Life, actually. But on with that, she hasn't really been following anything else as far as a diet or any other plans to do something. She was all aboard going back, and Sala was going to be the support, and he was going to be her rock. Now he can't even put down his fucking video game long enough to fart in her direction. The only time in her life when she lost weight is when she was doing Ozempic. I agree. You could visibly see how much weight she lost. You can see, because she had lost she was 400, which you can tell herself, whatever. The scale doesn't lie. People lie. But, let's see. Her last hurrah, she was having a hard time. So she gave herself a cheat day and justified it 1,000 different ways. It was kind of a struggle meal. She was eating like ramen and not too many other, like, what was it? Ramen and then like hot dogs with struggle cheese she was having tortillas made up like a little bit of pizzas, all that kind of stuff. So they have $700 worth of groceries and she's got all those food service deliveries around. What could be the one thing that would have her choose the inexpensive home food that she has? money, or at least money for food, I guess wasn't forthcoming. So 25-pound just exercising, can't figure out how she couldn't do it. She can. It's not a matter of can't, it's won't. The bulk of weight loss, and I hope I'm not talking out of my ass, anybody who knows fitness or whatever, you can't exercise your way out of a shitty diet, and you can't low impact 15 minutes a day work yourself out of a diet. The diet is the biggest part of what's going to cut the fat off your body. And the activity is so that you stay mobile, so you don't get bedbound, because it would take a sprained ankle. I mean, as it is right now, she's trying it out, like seeing, with this, I could live like this, inside, sitting down all day. Bedbound, like on the seal position that she likes. So, but losing weight is like I used to drink and other things, and it's simple, but it's not easy, if that makes any sense. It's very simple. Eat less, move more. When you eat less, you get smaller. You can eat combinations of things. You can eat all meats and no carbs. You can be a vegetarian. You can live on corn and rice. Whatever tickles you. But her having a last hurrah is in the same vein of like the fast food funeral, that it's supposed to mark an end of something, an end of bad eating or cheating eating. Mind you, she's designated this food a cheat before she's started. It's just an extra meal. What extra meals? Extra meals? I don't know. So, in the middle of all this ridiculousness, she did talk about wanting to motivate people and be an inspiration, which, yeah, I don't think, but whatever. Let's see. She tried a gaming stream. It didn't work. She's not into gaming. Salva does gaming. And even his gaming channel, 5,000-6,000 subs on it, it's probably... I mean, it's very niche. You have to be interested in video games, otherwise you're wasting your time. People who... It's very competitive. There's whole chunks of YouTube that I don't have my toe in that are, giant. She was 345 on her February 2nd video, so she's just maintaining. She is not just maintaining. Oh, 1 second, please. Anyone that's no need of a cheat day. There's no cheat days. There's a channel, I don't know if you guys have seen, her weight loss journey was a longer time. It's still going, like a lot of us, but Kamonica is one that I followed a lot. She was doing YouTube before, like, you get paid for it. Like 13 years ago, she had started on a weight loss journey and lost like 300 pounds, and then her life in the channel since has been up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's so refreshing watching like her content, because she's not thrilled with her current circumstances, but she's going in the right direction. And so you get to see the modest changes and what works and what doesn't. And it's very, 2008-ish era. She has probably 50-some thousand subs left, but I imagine it's left over, because when you lose 300 pounds with no surgery and that's on the thumbnail, people like to look. Speaking of spectacles, Chantal did a fashion show this week. She bought some garments, or had some garments that her mother had given her, she was showing us a way to still be modest, but wear like Western style clothes if you want. Black almost see-through leggings apparently count on that. Whether they were supposed to be see-through, I can't say, but oh well. So, also, no one's treating her eating disorder, her bed, seriously enough. Especially her, but we are. She went to the pet store for a vlog, and that was not the first time she was there. She leaned into her, nobody's perfect. So when she makes a mistake, it's back here at you, and nobody's perfect. What? I can't be a perfect person. She'll jump way far ahead. No one has high expectations of Chantal. It's like when she was gaslighting abuse, and she kept saying, no one was asking her, but she kept saying, I don't want to be an advocate for abuse. Get off. No one's asking you to, and you'd be a terrible one. Because it's not actually... Never mind. I'll let that settle out in court. But for whatever reason, she tries to make it seem like, okay, if it's over the top, if it's nobody's perfect, oh, you've never told a lie, oh, you've never cheated. Yeah, I've done all those things. I haven't done a lot of them, like, within the last week where you can, like, roll the clip. Here's the part where he was doing X, Y, Z. So... like Shani saying she's an advocate for domestic violence. I'm sure there are many good advocates out there who share their story, inspire hope, and provide comfort. She ain't one of them. Chantal would just tell you how to stalk. So, hurting herself in an attempt to hurt us, which, doesn't really do. She had some fried fish, which was another mukbang, and it was a rather sad one. Um, I was watching her eat that giant fried fish and the bucket of rice, and I'm thinking, I feel bad. In a moment, I felt sorry for her. I'm like, you have to do this. What other skill or form of entertainment could Chantal sell aside from this? You know, if YouTube ended tomorrow, a lot of us creators have other jobs, sometimes on other platforms, still as social, content creators, but also um, on other platforms. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Um, the fashion show, cellulitis, and tuna, all in the same episode. She needed to get out of doing something, so she has a new condition. That's always, these conditions are like, it's sort of like you think, of course, it's related to hygiene. Of course she has skin irritation. She's in layers of clothing, sweating into them, and I don't believe she bathes 3 times a week, let alone 3 times a day. She would have to spend all day in the shower. It's no shame, but when you're big, it takes a while, and it's uncomfortable. The fashion show, honestly, on her end, was probably quite aerobic. Getting dressed and undressed when you're 400 pounds, like her or hate her, is uncomfortable. And there's the issue of her socks and her feet, and she sits. I wonder if Sala puts her socks on because she's no smaller than she was when she had left. So Pete's, at whatever weight that was, had to help her with her socks. Then she's either maintained or gotten heavier, and it hasn't come up since. Now, I know through those elderly folks magazines that you can get those Swedish reacher to like stick your foot out and pull the sock up, that kind of thing, which is one option. One option. So, Jay, what's up? Doing good, doing good. How are you? The layers are unreal and, again, over the top. I'm a modest Muslim woman. There's plenty of modest women, I'm sure, in Kuwait City that are not bundled up to their necks. And anybody would understand her wearing less clothing. I mean, I don't know. Wherever doctors' excuses for religions go, she could probably not have to be with it. And the fact that in other things she was so modest. Oh, I can't show this. I can't show that. It's just too much. Canada was the problem, then Kuwait was the problem, then Canada was the problem, then Kuwait was the problem. Her advice to new people trying to start channels is prepare for hate. That's you, but I'll touch on that a little later. So, health. All her health problems seem to be disappearing when they serve no purpose anymore. Her diagnosis, the best guess was sciatica. So she called it sciatica, and then went to a doctor and said, I have sciatica, and it ended up on a chart, so now she has sciatica. Or not. She wouldn't show us. Most people thought it was diabetic neuropathy, that she was having other issues with movement. Hey, how did you think it's going to end? So, the big lie that they have, that I think not so much Jen did, but Amber periodically, is this whole, if I'm in pain, I can't do anything. So if Chantal's leg hurts, she can't do anything at all. If she's that injured, how's she showering 3 times a day? So I don't believe the hygiene part. I don't. But also, just because it hurts doesn't mean you can't do it. It hurts because it hurts, but that doesn't mean it's causing injury and you should lay off of it. It might mean it will just take 2-3 days to loosen up. So go through the motions of life and everything will happen. But everything has to stop dead in her life if she's uncomfortable standing. Oh, I can't. Bring me the food. Bring me the booze. Bring me the hookah. Bring me the this. Bring me the that. Like, Hijab the Hutt. That was way back when she first started wearing it. So, I don't know. She said she showered when she was having this issue with the cellulitis. She's saying that she's showering frequently, like 3 times a week. And she's been using cornstarch and other stuff to try to clean it. Yeah, cheaper to order out than to cook. Please. She cares about money a whole lot, I'm sure. So, going to the hospital and eating like the 6 bags of fluid, like she alleged that she did. And again, first rule of girl world, Chantal lies. She makes shit up. So, she was filming herself in the ER, and it was like, I swear it's norovirus. No, it's not norovirus. It's this. It's your blood sugar. And chasing different medical facilities to just she's not doing an all-over kind of treatment. She's kind of just trying to like put out fires that when the symptoms get to be too much or whatever, she'll find a medical person to give her some insulin and then she's fine. And I think she thinks you can chase it around like that, like if you have anxiety. Well, you'll always have it, but you can take this for this and that for that. And she's like barely engaged in dealing with it. As long as she doesn't see a doctor, she's nothing worse than she was the last time she went. The idea that her health changes over time is lost on her. So if the last time she went to the doctor was 2012 and she said she was 350 pounds, that's not a good thing. And not for nothing with this gaining and losing weight, if she lost nothing for the last 6 years, it's 6 years of nothing. 6 years. Nothing to show. Where's the weight? Up, down, all the drama, all the diets. None of it mattered. None of it mattered, apparently. So, I don't know. Health at every size. Chantal was a perfect example of how that's not necessarily the case. Your co-occurring disorders and health problems that come along with obesity as secondary cause of illness. Anyway. But just like Chantal, and this was, a few people had mentioned this, it's healthcare in Canada, she says it's free, it's covered. It's paid for in some part through tax money, so it's only free for her because she didn't pay her taxes. So she's making it a point to go somewhere that she's screwed over to go lean into their system and conveniently make use of the insurance that she hasn't paid for years. So think back now, all the years she didn't pay taxes, all those years. She goes to the ER about 5 times a year. I think that's about right, 5 times or so. For any number of different reasons, whether it's a mental health call to distract from something else. BB was good for that. She'd be like, I gotta go to the ER. Hopefully that'll distract him from wanting to leave, and like he'll fall into caretaker role, and then it puts out that fire. Or she did something stupid and then she feels unsafe and has to go to the hospital, and she uses medical concerns, real or imagined, to try to kind of manipulate people around a little bit. It's not new. She didn't invent doing that, of course, and it is what it is. This having the last hurrah. So she had a last hurrah, which she planned. It wasn't, how can I put this? She said she was having like an extra meal, and that's what it was going to be. It was ramen noodles with cheese on them. It reminded me of jail food. Everyone ever had a friend or a cousin? Everyone's got that cousin who was in jail, and they would make things called chi-chis, which were like ramen noodles with Hickory Farms beef sticks and liquid cheese and Cheetos and also their stuff you mix together. And then you pour it in a garbage bag and cook it on top of a hot water heater. And it still looked better than what she was eating. But so it goes. I remember struggle food of my own. I remember getting struggle food. I had to go to Dollar General for my grocery store. I didn't have to, let me clarify. I was too drunk to walk any further, because I was drunk every day, than to Dollar General. And I would get those like single loser groceries, like for one, the Tony's pizzas for one, tortillas instead of bread with struggle cheese, like the shrink wrap kind, and then hot dogs. Hot dogs to me always speak poverty. We had them a lot when I was a kid when things were tight. So her last hurrah is like the fast food funeral. And it's the fast food funeral is not the funeral, because we've seen about 3 or 4 of those a year. 3 or 4, maybe. Cheat meals. More of your day should have non-cheat meals than cheat meals. Just a thought. Because you're not cheating otherwise. The only cheat would be the binge. The only thing bigger, she says, is what she eats off camera. She could eat nothing off camera and get fat on the food she's eating. I mean, when you don't move and you eat a lot, more things happen than fat, though. This is why the blood sugar thing has been a little bit more concerning. Hasn't been to the dentist in 10 years. I think her front 2 teeth are capped. They look like they were added on, like they might have been jacked up. She has some work over here that could be done. I do too. But I do get my teeth cleaned and I brush. Those things are important too. Like, that's like saying, the last time I went to the dentist, my teeth were perfect. When did you go? 10 years ago. Well, then they're not probably perfect now. How do you know? The last one I went to said they were perfect. Because any idiot would know that over the course of 10 years with no treatment, your teeth are going to start to look like shit. Now, if you don't care to address it, that's fine. If you can't afford to address it, I would understand. Dental care in America is not included with health care. Your eyes, ears, and teeth don't count as part of the rest of your body when we're insuring it. So. let's see. Bed suddenly became a topic when she was talking about binge eating, eating on camera, eating off camera, and how we need to be more sensitive as a community to her issue with binge eating disorder because it's an illness, it's a disease, it's an addiction. It's a way to get out of responsibility by saying, "Oh, I can't. I know everyone else's rules are like that, but I can't. And it's always some dumb. I'm afraid of elevators. I don't want to go near this. I don't want to walk. I'm afraid of sea monsters." Like stupid, dumbass shit. She engages in binge eating, but I don't think she thinks it's a disorder. I don't think she thinks it's anything that's going to kill her. She's that not thinking about it. Chantal was particularly good about putting her head in the sand, at least for a while when she's trying to get her head off something. Like she just, yeah, Laura, she'll eat 3 dinners. And the attitude she carries as though because other people are watching and not approving, she thinks the non-approval is hate and that they hate her. It's not. It's the non-approval of someone just throwing their life away for super chats. For what? I mean, does she really think she's going to be doing YouTube? Let's say she does live a long, happy life. Let's say, yeah, backup sandwiches. That was supposed to be for Natter, and then she ate the whole damn thing. Of course, he's not there, so he doesn't know, and it doesn't matter. At this point, anything of Natter that comes up, I get the feeling that some of it was like B-roll that was left over that still had him in it, and so she'll go through the motions of whatnot, trying to make it seem like everything's fine, and the rest of the world is off, other places, so not liking her is different than hating her. I'll see you, Bella. I don't hate Chantal. I hate her choices, and I hate the self-centeredness that guides her choices. It just makes her look like a bad person, and when she acts on it, she acts like a bad person, too. I just called Sala Natter. Like it'll matter. Don't we think that when she came back to Canada, she might have seen more than just Pete's? Especially when she was on a 7-day blackout. That was the smartest thing she did when she got, put off for a while. She stayed off all her other social media. That's how you have privacy. It's going to cost you a week's worth of income, but that's how you get privacy. You go radio silent. Should I have to? I can't just live. No, you can't. You can't just live your life. Not with 101K. Interesting how that number froze conveniently after you got the plaque. I guess what we don't know, we'll have to guess. So, all right. Foodie the motivator to help other people who are struggling. She hasn't taken a healthy action of any significance in her life in about 6 years. I've been watching her probably 5 or 6. And she never really takes it to heart. Why does she think she can do Everest and have 6-pack? Because she knows she's a joke. She's in on the joke if she actually thinks that. I mean, it's one thing to get her covered up like all I can think of with her going up at Spies Like Us, if you've ever seen the movie, big fur on her. She can't make it to the beach where you could throw a rock from her porch and get to it. There's no way. It's nice to have dreams. It's nice to have funny little fantasies you throw around and think, God, if I ever came into a bunch of money, that's the first thing I would do. First thing I would do is go fly and watch her try to get up Everest. That would be my first indulgent spending. But I think she talks about the 6-pack thing because all she can do is talk. She can't do. You're gonna see. 6 years later, everyone else has already lost their weight, gained it back, lost it, got married, had relationships, and she's still trying to get her hands around the same bullshit she hasn't dealt with because she hasn't dealt with it. So her problems aren't much different than they were 5 years ago because she hasn't really tried to do anything different other than move. She didn't change her character. She didn't take on a mentor. She didn't throw herself into her faith. You can tell because any idiot can read parts of the faith, and is she doing it or not? You're not Muslim. You don't get to question it. Okay, but then there's Muslim people that were. There's hate in the Muslim community for Western Muslims. She says Western Muslim like it's Coke Zero. And especially when she was leaving from Kuwait to go back to Canada, she was really over the whole idea of acting like she was going to be a Muslim at all. So she's like, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm going home anyway. What's the difference? She needs periodic breaks from, I think, it being so restrictive. And going to Canada gives her a little leeway from that. Plus, he's not coming with her to Canada, apparently, or can't. So, she's not, and she's really not prepared. She's never been thin or known thin people. Definitely not. She'd understand it's unobtainable for most people. Yeah, a lot of that, yeah. Plus the weed. She gets the munch. Well, she has the munchies without weed. I'm surprised it's not like true life addiction and like she gets blazed and eats like the sofa cushions or something like that. That she runs out of food. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. But someone who's going to go have a second supper and already know it's wrong before doing it, plan to do it, record it, and then sell it is not someone who's serious about losing their weight. So she's got a gym and a pool steps away. Oh, our food came. We ordered dinner tonight. We got Chinese. Mark was out there getting it. She's got a gym, pool, steps. Yeah, but that's she's hurt. She can't. There will always be an excuse, and it will always be somebody else's fault that Chantal doesn't have. It'll always be someone else's fault. If it wasn't this, if it wasn't that, you can tell your story wobbling. Just keep going. The rest of us are having lives. And we're having lives we like. And that's there for you too, but you gotta not lie, cosplay other fates, and just eat yourself to death. If you could stop those few things, you might have something closer to a life. Not acting like you have a life for the best impression you can make. I mean that when you turn the camera off, or your phone off, you're enjoying yourself then too. You're liking it then at that point. It's not, I don't know. The poor thing. Using illness for sympathy, again, we brought up binge eating disorder for hers, and the line that she draws with binge eating being something she does off camera, and she doesn't binge on camera. So her definition doesn't hold. If you look for the diagnostic criteria for it, it's not going to say, well, sometimes, or this was less than this, or I ate less at dinner than lunch, so I'm going in the right direction. There's no direction with her eating. She doesn't care. She just haphazardly eats what she wants, and if it makes her feet swell up, she'll go to the ER. That's why people like Chantal need healthcare and regular treatment, because otherwise she's going to keep up ending up in emergency care and emergency rooms, trying to pick off symptoms that she should be maintaining with lifestyle changes every little day. She's not a good person. She'll never be. I think she's a really selfish person. I don't think... Well, okay, I don't think she is. Was she born that way? Was it nature, nurture? I mean, Mark says she was born that way, like born under a bad sign. It's her personality is the thing. They don't make pills for the kind of behavior that she has. They don't make pills that help you be less manipulative. And they don't make pills that'll help you lose 100 pounds by doing nothing but sitting on your butt either. Change takes change. And I don't mean to be a hard ass. My life's no, I've certainly made a mess a few times. Alcohol, drugs, promiscuity, all sorts of other stuff. But people who make mistakes can turn it around. People who make deliberately bad decisions can turn it around too. Chantal would be the ultimate turnaround story on YouTube. But, she'd have to be about 5 years in before anyone would believe her. She wasn't told no, Silver. I think she was probably spoiled by one relative who felt guilty about neglect from another one, and the situation with her father not being around. And it's if he was an alcoholic, it's just as well he wasn't around her. Imagine how much worse she would be with an alcoholic parent who stayed. Come back of the century, and I'd be there. I'd be the first one, because I've been pulling for her for years. I'm less optimistic, but I don't hate her, and I've seen sicker people. I've seen sicker people than Chantal get better and turn their life around and do something else to it. I've seen more, and it's her personality is the big thing in the way. Personality and pride. She has zero dignity, but a hell of a lot of pride. And that gets in the way of her doing things. She thinks that dieting is giving in to the haters, because the haters don't like her the way she is and want her to lose weight. She thinks all fat girls have to buy husbands, too, but no, obnoxious girls do. But there's plenty of fat folks out there getting it on, lovey-dovey, having big dinners, watching mukbangs, whatever big folks do. I'm somewhere between big folks and normal folks, and Mark's about there too. But you're not going to have, Eileen, hello. No one will cheer for her like they did for Tammy. She's so unlikable now. Well, thing is, though, if you take it's very easy for her to think that people don't like her because she's fat, rather than the fact that she didn't take very good care of her cat, manipulates her audience. $37? What was that for? And you offered to give it back what you took wrongfully. How noble. How fucking noble. So, YouTube positively enforces all her behavior. Yeah, well, I mean, she makes money. But people who have the kind of habits she had, I mean, she's not gonna She's not going to live long, and if she does, she's not going to live well. I mean, she just hit 40, and all of a sudden she has all the mobility problems of someone who's about to retire. She can't get up and walk. She's no little girl when it comes to mental health. It's like they carry on like they're kids. Like, oh, it was me, I can't help it. And her and Amber did the same sort of thing. But then when you get to their real life health, they have more health problems than most geriatrics because they've been crushing their bodies for years. And when someone's indignant or nonchalant about the fact that they're throwing their life away, it might bother people who've had others who wanted to live really badly and would have done anything for it. And if all they had to do was lose some weight, they would absolutely do it if it meant saving their own life. And watching someone lick their fingers and smirk while they do that, it could be angering. I mean, it's, I guess, really nobody's business, but when you put it on YouTube and there's a comment section, guess what people are going to do? You'll never guess. They comment. And it's not a compliment section either. You know, we all have to be receptive if there's some nasty stuff in the comments because we misspoke. We took a position that was wildly unpopular. We offended people. There's a lot of different reasons. Chantal was much bigger on just delete the evidence. So she'll just delete the video, get rid of it. This back and forth Kuwait-Canada thing is just going to extend, I think. She had mentioned Malaysia. She had mentioned other stuff. But, hey, Irene, how are you? Dismissive of the $6 donation to her PayPal. She's such a bitch. It's a handout. You don't earn anything. Nothing. Disabled people do more. But, I don't know. Her pretty privilege isn't working out because I think she's realizing now she's not a pretty little quirky teenage girl. They're readers, Woodward. I broke my other ones. She's not a pretty little teenager or Miss Bouncy. You're in your 30s. You're over 40. Get it the fuck together. If you knew what it looked like, you would have stopped by now. You know, if you had judged yourself with even 1/10 the harshness that she judges other people, she'd be in on it. I mean, insight is a beautiful thing. I don't think she'll get it. It doesn't serve her purposes. Most people won't be able to cheer any weight loss. She's a rotten person. That's it. She'll just be a rotten, animal abusing person with a lot of loose skin. And if she gets a six-pack, she'll be an obnoxious, selfish nightmare with a six-pack. That's not going to change. You know, she wants to change her body. She needs to change her freaking mind. But she's not ready to think about that, talk about it. And she was so indulged, I think, over her life that she thinks, you know, what? There's nothing wrong with me. Something wrong with you. If you have a problem, get out. Go away. Go touch grass. Go. It's always so stupid. So stupid. So bed, not so much. The pet store. So they went to a pet store again because of all the things there is to do in a foreign country and having been there for coming into 2 years, we've seen everything so much that we can hit the pet store twice. So go back in. The fact that she's around pets is just meant to light fire under other people's asses anyway. You know, don't let her near the animal. She'll try to adopt another one. She'll gaslight that she wants to get another cat. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Because I think she thinks she can calculate the amount of hate she gets. And if she needs something, it's going to be, so glad to make a live. I can super chat one of my favorite channels. Big granny hugs. Thank you, Whimsical. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, thank you. She's like, to be humiliated, so the six-pack BS gets, well, she depends on reaction channels. If she didn't discuss reaction channels, one half of her own content would be just about complaining. Even at 150, I'm pretty sure I'd still not like her. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. She could look like, I don't know, Jason Momoa. And I'd still be like, no, don't. Well, okay, maybe I would make a few exceptions, but no, would not get together with. It's too exhausting. I can tell you that when I was drinking, I used to drink a lot. And use periodically. Garbage head is probably the best way to put it. Whatever I could find in your medicine cabinet, I would take. And I can understand that she doesn't think there's anything wrong with her. And she thinks everyone else has the problem. I'm speaking to addiction feelings, not details. The details are all different, you know. She likes rice, I drank mouthwash, you know, tit for tat. But eventually I stopped. And when someone gets to the point of drinking Listerine, you're not usually at the point of return, you know. A lot of people go to rehab before that. So I've been far gone and blamed everyone else, and then you pushed everybody away. Get away from me, go away, leave me alone. And then turn around and go, see, I knew you'd all leave, I knew you'd abandon me. Don't tell everyone push them away and then wonder where they went. It's like when we have a live where she's like disconnecting Beezers. Anyone who doesn't agree to kiss her ass, she throws out. She'd be worse if she was skinny. She'd have another problem. You know, her choices and actions, she doesn't have consequences. Unless it's a direct one for her, it doesn't matter. Like, she would never be upset that something she said hurt somebody's feelings. Like, not even a little. Not even a little. Delusional is the word. I had a friend who would drink. You know, Chantal can do whatever she wants. It's her life. When she turns off the camera, she's there alone with her reality. And TikTok. She's probably glued to TikTok because I imagine the silence is deafening. Not relaxing. Deafening. If her pathetic life isn't rock bottom, what is? I think a little spin on the desire. I think her becoming very, very famous for something very, very unflattering or very not good. I mean viral like it makes the news. In a little clip in the morning news or something. I can see that. You know. She's like reality TV mean. Like the catty little, like, never did anything with herself, sits around. She's got a good eye for working. You know, she did make quite a bit of money and still does, or she did. But so goes. So, going to the pet store. Who has no life again? She has nothing to do, nowhere to be. And she just stays inside. Again, it's one of those things where I think people look at it like, I think people would look at her situation and think, I would be more grateful if I was in her position. The luxuries of the position, the being able to travel, the being able to stay away and live other places, all that stuff's enviable. But when I think, if I had a chance to go live abroad for a couple years, and all I did was sit on the floor, make up illnesses because it was hot out, and try to bewitch the man I'm bribing into bringing me food, people would go, what a waste. I would do much more with myself if I was there. I think I'd be outside. I think I'd go to some restaurants. I don't think I'd order in as much. What's the point of moving if you're not going to leave the apartment? You might as well be on the moon. So, only watch through reactions. I pull my ones from other channels where they have almost the full seed just to get most of my views. I do watch some of her videos, though, straight from her. I'll give her a nickel. It's fine. No big deal. So fried fish. She had fried fish, and she had the fried fish because she had to buy it because she never would have been able to make something similar at home, and eating out, as we found out in the fish video, is much cheaper than it is to cook at home. Because she wouldn't know how to cook a fish like this, she had to buy it. Who the fuck said you had to have fish? And you were strong-armed into eating the fried one. That's on you, I guess. More rice, why not? Chewing is very important. It's not funny to die choking to death in a live stream. I mean, I know it sounds funny right now because it's like, but really, it wouldn't be. Really, it wouldn't be. So, Mark could make the fried fish. Ooh. And fried fish done well is good. And I'm not a big, the diabetes 5 times a week, but fried, I don't know. She's doing it. She drinks enough juice to put herself in a coma. I mean, she's just going to have her own consequences whenever they come. And that's what I'm thinking. She'll think she's at the peak of, I've made it. I'm here. I'm there. That's why when she hit the 100,000, I was like, because this is the point where the world corrects itself. Ill-gotten gains are taken back. And, karma as such, or whatever goes around comes around type of thing, is what she'll be paying with. So, her rip into the fish. Well, her hands are small, which is weird. A palm full of rice, 2 cups. Her palm, her fingers are this, there's her fingers. Okay? And trying to get rice in between all those. Her limbs, there's parts of her body now that are starting, your hands usually don't fail. Now the doctor's 2 cups of rice, 2 full cups of white rice. That's the best thing. Not a quarter as much brown. I mean, just little changes. When you're like, oh, well, having white rice versus brown won't make a difference. Well, over 40 years, it might make a difference. Heart disease doesn't start at 30. It starts at 5. So whatever idiots were giving her snacks as a kid to shut her up and make her feel good, they can take a little piece of the blame for this too. Chantal, as an adult, is entirely her own nightmare of a responsibility, but young Chantal was not. She should have had a parent. She should have hopefully had some decent ones. Once she hit into her teens, though, she found her own groove. Once you learn how to fake a suicide attempt, you're pretty much your own person, I guess. So, all right, the modest Muslim garb. There was rice for more than 6, I would say. It's the other part of it is she'll say, "Oh, they gave me so much silverware. Look at so many sauces." It's because they thought it was for 5. That's why there's so many sauces. And her little trick of kind of customizing her plates, meaning if she was going to share it with Salah, she'll then dump something all over the top of it that he won't like, and who's going to want to pick through it with her, with her fingers in there and everything like that. So, I don't know. Look for Mark's fish video. Be very good. We did fish not long ago, actually. Speaking of fish, she had a tuna sandwich, which she called a cheat meal. To her, that's healthy. Drowned in mayonnaise, on white bread, it's very healthy. And then the idea of having cellulitis. So she's in a lot of layers, and it's a difficult part of the world to stay dry if you're Chantal. And trying to stay dry when you're 400 pounds probably isn't easy. And I know she's not showering 3 times a day. She's just saying that to cover. But because she can't, she's probably very, very, very uncomfortable. So we'll see. She has to go to a clinic again. It's like every 3 weeks. She's got a problem. Get a damn doctor. You couldn't pay me enough to believe she eats any of the food. I don't think he does. I don't know. Why the tuna sub when she had the ingredients at home? Because she's lazy. Because she's lazy. The only thing she's not doing, she's doing TikTok, watching it, and reading comments about her, watching other reaction videos that are about her. I know she says she doesn't. I know she's seen ours before, but I'm on the nicer side of things. I don't hate her personally. I don't like her choices. I don't like the way she treats people. Those things are hopefully changeable, but I don't know. Medical emergency when it's convenient, but her organs are dying. She's dying, and it's showing. She's not going to be able to fake it. You can only put on so many filters. I mean, it looks like she's wearing so much blush anymore, but the filter has taken that rosacea, bringing it down to this bright pink. Her other parts of her body don't look good. And I mean, how does this get better? If the situation doesn't change, it's going to get worse. Some situations, when they don't change, there's no change. But if she doesn't change, it's going to get worse. And even trying, it might still. Some of our bodies aren't as forgiving as others. Once I hit 40, all of a sudden, the hair that was left, turned gray. Here. I haven't seen a gray hair on my body yet, but I swear to God if I do. I don't really mind aging as long as I always look the same. Do we remember which Golden Girl said that? Yeah, well, that's why we were talking about the 6-pack. Boo. Even if she would just be an obnoxious, selfish woman with a 6-pack. Maybe, I think if she loses the weight, it's going to confirm for her something she didn't realize, is that people don't dislike her because of her weight. And she can try to rally a fat mob and say, they don't like us because we're big. No, we like all these other folks who happen to be big. You're just obnoxious. So, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Every 3 months they send stuff for the CPAP. I was on disability right when I got out of my last rehab. For a year and a half I was on disability. And I would get stuff from Medicare all the time. And what's the older person's organization? So a lot of damage. Don't think she really could turn things around at this point. We don't get to pick. When I was in rehab, there was people, of course, drugs of choice are different and different drugs do different damage. But I remember talking to another guy who was a drinker, and I was AARP, thank you, Des. And we don't get to pick which parts of our bodies fail. I was a drinker, so the things you usually think of are liver, other stuff. I was with a guy who had the beginnings of it's called wet brain, the Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. I just butchered that and said it fast because I think I got the name of it wrong. And it can be brain impaired, numb, frontal lobe damage, all sorts of stuff can come with it. All sorts of stuff. And we don't get to pick what manifests. I don't get to pick. It's going to be my liver, not my head. I was having wonderful conversations with another guy there for treatment who had a cane. I was like, were you in an accident? He's like, no, I drank. It shut down a chunk of his head. You don't get to... Yeah, colloquially is known as wet brain. It has a proper diagnosis. It's severe thiamine or some B vitamin deficiency, and it can cause lots and lots of problems. It's very common, not exclusive to alcoholics, but it's common. So, and some things like that will repair themselves. But if she loses a foot, she's not a starfish. She's not going to grow another one back. That's it. You only get so many feet. Sorry. And she is going eventually, I think, have to find a place where she's going to be having something like a maid. Something like what she says Sala does for her, like a manservant. A home health aide, more likely. Because if she's going to get to the point where she can't get out of the apartment or out of the house, when she's broke, she's useless to him. So, Gypsy Blue, back to the beginning. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, you know where she ever has a health condition where her appetite's compromised? Has there been one? Every once in a while, she'll say she had tea and toast for breakfast because she didn't feel good. And then she'll have like 3 boxes of Easy Mac for dinner. Chantal will die trying to prove she is loved. I very much agree. It's more important, the impression, it's important to her, the perception that she's in love and that other people believe that about her. Pride, yeah. She will. She'll pick a dumb hill to die on, probably. And even, like, imagine if she does do a real turnaround sometime. Even that'll probably get fucked up along the way. It's going to be very difficult for how long she's been this level of sick and been indulged by family, friends, YouTube, and Beezers. She can pretty reliably not change at all and still live a pretty good life. There's enough people who are going to turn in and watch her eat and watch her complain and then make videos about her complaining. I mean, it's just going to keep going in that circle. But eventually she's going to start to circle the drain because if people aren't interested, they're not going to watch. And people don't like to be gaslit and manipulated. You know, she'll get 1,500 new subscribers and then tell them all to fuck off. They all leave. And then she gets another 1,500. Not the same people. Just a bunch of other ones that keep coming. So, how bizarre. How bizarre. So Canada was the problem. Kuwait was the problem. She went back to Canada, be close to my family and work on my health. And then moving from Canada back to Kuwait because all of my vices are here, all of my indulgences are here. I can't be in Kuwait. It's not good for me. All the way back to Kuwait to sit down and do 3 mukbangs in a row. Fish, fried and drowned in mayonnaise. So there's 2 for this week. Like you were saying, like how many a week you're supposed to have? No, and the size of rice and everything. She just doesn't care. Like, it doesn't hurt me when you overeat. It hurts me when I overeat. You know, it hurts you when you overeat, but you're not proving anything. Again, except for the kind of juvenile, look at how much I'm throwing away. I'm throwing away more in takeout than you'll ever make in a year. This is when she runs out of things to brag about and leans on money. How she can afford it and this and that. I can afford to do all the things I want to do. Oh? You ever taken a payday loan? You ever switched money to somebody else's name because you thought you were going to be together forever, and then you never see them again? They come over to flip you twice a week, change the litter box. Oh, the litter. So they went shopping. When they did pet store stuff, they had to get pet food, which is interesting because I think a couple people had said, they've been saying it forever, she never buys pet food. Like, who's buying the litter? Who's buying this? They go to the store, they're looking around, Sala picks out litter, and then they don't know what food to get. They've had this cat for a long time. She wasn't in Kuwait too long before getting a new cat. And they're not kind of sure what food, she's not sure what food that the cat's going to eat or what they're going to need. So I'm guessing Sala or a delivery man usually brings all the stuff to the house. You know, the last time I remember her going grocery shopping herself was pre-COVID, definitely, because right at the beginning of COVID, she was still running out and doing stuff and sneaking around. But then when restrictions came down, she was going out a little bit beyond just drive-thrus all over the tribes province. area to get McDonald's. She did a lot of driving during COVID to get out, and then got home and got really stoned. And I mean, that was the era. That was the $20,000 a month era. That was the trade off. She had to act and carry on like that to make that. Um, and I mean, it's not too different. I'm thinking, Hungry Fat Chick, how she kind of reluctantly but very plainly said, "Look, I make more money eating than not. I'm glad people are happy for me and it's healthy, but I need money first." And who can blame her? But having to kind of make those hard decisions and say, "I'm going to call this a career, whatever it is." I wouldn't, but I'm going to call this a career, and it's not good for me, but I make good money, and all jobs involve risk, and so I'll just do this. I wonder if you can collect unemployment from mukbanging if you stop. I wonder. And it's sad for Candy because she seems like a sweet soul stuck in a bad situation. Keep hurting yourself, keep overeating, but keep the audience coming. Or stop doing it, win appreciation and self-respect, but less money. But that's not so cut and dry. I make it sound so moral and cut and dry, like I would. It's not. It's not. If I was making these large amounts of money, if I could make 150 a day just sitting on camera and eating, it'd be very tempting to do that. It would be very tempting to do it because, if I could make several grand a month, I could quit my job. Mark couldn't quit his, but, well, that's the thing. She's honest. Hungry Fat Chick's honest. And that's why it's relatable. If Chantal was actually honest, even though I'll take an honest fuck up versus someone who thinks they're a slick liar any day. Because I was an honest fuck up. There was some deliberate lying in there, make no mistake, deliberate manipulations in there when I was using, make no mistake. But by and large, I was an okay guy before the drinking, and I turned out one afterwards. But that's years of therapy and socialization and talking to people and getting over myself and getting over myself and getting over myself and maybe a little more of that. So, I don't know. But the interesting thing that happened when she was in one of her chats. Oh, do you make money? I don't know. I don't know if there's too many male mukbangers. There's a few that I've seen. Their channels haven't grown at all. And they're rather small. I don't look for mukbangers. I guess I'm not a good one to ask. Nick Ocado makes me sick. I mean, I don't like him. I don't like his choices or behavior either. He's a stain on the rainbow flag. But, he has also got 3 channels, all with hundreds of thousands of views. There's more money in ruining your life than living it. It's the spectacle. It's the train wreck appeal. It's I can't stop watching. It's I gotta see how this ends. I'm probably in the I gotta see how this ends thing. Because there's only a couple. She'll either turn it around and get better, or she'll die. And she's not going to live with these comorbidities more than a few years. So I've already seen 5. Is there even 5 more in her? Does she have another 5 years of content in her? 3 years ago, I don't think she thought she'd be in Kuwait. So tack 3 years onto that. She'll be at Everest. At base camp. She'd probably go so cannibal. What was it? Alive, the soccer team where they ended up eating each other. I think way before rations run out, Chantal's going to want to start eating people. Just saying. Folks, we are coming up close to the end. It always so nice to chat when it goes quick. Money from mukbanging is easy to have. And a lot of the other mukbangers, they're not obese. Not even a little. They just eat differently or they work their way around it. You're the young guy who is in great shape. I'm in terrible shape, but that's... Oh well. Not even Everest Base Camp on a game. No. No way. It's ridiculous. If she made a plan to walk nonstop for 1 mile, I'd be behind her. When she overshoots with these grandiose, ridiculous goals that most people won't meet, say nothing about someone who's the size of 3 people getting up the tallest mountain in the world. Are you fucking idiot? I don't know. Pam, you're just a hair late, but you're okay. We're wrapping up in a few minutes, but you can start back at the beginning. She's going to end up paralyzed, and that's how she'll become locked into bedbound. That makes sense. The way to play a part, but she's ultimately be paralyzed. So, she's bringing it on herself. She'll try to blame other people later, but I'm having more and more flashbacks to Life by Jen as we're watching Chantal get kind of worse and worse, and the only attention she's getting anymore is disgust from her eating, and pity for her alleged medical situations. You know, oh, hi guys, how'd you sleep? Oh, I hurt my. Oh. How many times did she come on camera and said, I feel fucking great today? When she wasn't on, so she is a good case study. If I had more letters after my name, I might open up open up my own practice. Yeah. Tea houses and other things. I think it'd be cool to go to. I just think of all the goals. Like, I don't know. If you could take a few years to look after your health, you could have another 30 easily. So, that's okay, Kim. No big, no big. Lots of yes, with Natter. Well, there's feeling good and there's being good. She feels happy eating herself half to death, even though it doesn't really look like it. Professional victims, that's not entirely inaccurate. I've heard similar from other people, and I'm inclined to say the same. Chantal just keeps she needs to find new people to feel sorry for her. So that's why she keeps rotating through subscribers and not having these big loops, because 1,000 people in a week maybe like the mukbangs, they show up, they thought she was funny, they thought she was cute, and then they see nothing but a live stream of her that's 1 hour about screaming out something about French fries and how everyone's jealous of her. Rice again today? Of course. It's her funeral. It's her funeral. It's just for us to see. I think in this point, I've gone from supportive to I'm just watching the show. I want to see how it ends. Good or bad. I expect one more than the other. Can't tell you the details of how it's going to fall apart, but I think so. No cabbage soup. It's so dumb, Ed. So dumb. Water fasting, grape lemon fast, juice, smoothies, all of this. Are we any heavier or slimmer than we were 6 years ago? Maintaining being 200 pounds overweight is not progress. Saying, well, I didn't get any bigger, I can eat whatever I want now. I tapped out at 390. It's okay. So you've hit a point where you can eat whatever you want. But staying at that weight is not to be applauded. It's the opposite of. But, Ozempic and cocaine, whatever you need to do to get the weight off, I suppose. I don't know how much drug access she would have in Kuwait if she wanted to find a mother's little helper. I know in some areas the pharmacies are completely different and you can get prescription stuff over the counter and other stuff not at all. So, eating. Last year, summer I don't think he's going to be there. She won't go out because it's too hot. It's too hot in the middle of the night for her to go out. And if I was 400 pounds and wasn't interested in changing anything about that, then I would stay inside too. Doesn't mean much. Yeah, I mean, if she's lost 15 pounds over the last 3 years, I mean, that's hard on your body to even yo-yo if you do. The fact that her only appreciable weight loss came through use of drugs, prescription or non, because she was doing nose candy at the same time that she was taking the Ozempic. So, we'll see. I don't know. Steve makes Chantal interesting, so we watch him from. That's very kind of you, Live Light. Thank you. So going into next week, if we don't check in, no, it'll probably be Saturday. It'll be Saturday or Sunday. She has enough to try to get used to the heat. She's never gonna. No, it's hot. Air conditioning. Ordering food. Sala. Change the cat box. It's starting to smell. Like. She's not getting things done for her because she's royalty. It's because she's useless. That's why people do things for her. Oh, the poor girl. Oh, and she likes pity. You can't tell me, and this will wrap up here, you can't tell me that when she shaved her head and started wearing those bandanas around in Canada before she decided she was going to cosplay Muslim, you don't think 1 or 2 people probably thought, oh, the poor girl has cancer, and you think that she corrected them? Any opportunity to seek pity or attention, she'll go for. I don't think she's going to change until she starts mood altering off of something other than pity and food. And if she can't get over pity and food and a little self-centeredness, then she's not going to have a shot. She's only ever going to have relationships like this, where she's going to have to pay financially for companionship. I think she'd be afraid not to, only to find out that without dropping a few dimes, most people don't want anything to do with her. But the money kind of covers that for her. She gets to pat herself on the back for feeling wealthy and more above other people. And fine, go out and celebrate your 100K with all your friends. I don't know, valuable means different to different people, I guess. So that's all we're going to go for tonight, folks. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching. This was a nice, easy breezy, kind of slow chat. Got to share some thoughts, got to catch up a little. For a Monday, I think we did pretty okay. So, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. Please hit the thumbs up on your way out, and don't forget to subscribe if you are not subscribed. Our contact info is all listed below, our X, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Email address, all of that too. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, y'all. I'll put the replay up. I'll just leave this up and then do the editing. So this will stay up. It won't come down any bit. Thanks for being here. Thanks for giving me some attention. And we'll catch up with y'all very soon. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Bye. Say bye, Mark. He left already.